All right. Happy Wednesday, fellow veterans. This is our first live after that nice little Thanksgiving break last weekend. So I hope you all had an amazing Thanksgiving filled with food, family, loved ones, friends, or maybe just some nice quiet downtime, right? Because that's always good as well. So again, welcome to our live session today. As you're trickling into the live, feel free to drop into the comments your branch of service. If you already have a coach and you're signed up with us, you can give your coach a shout out, years you served, all that type of stuff. I always like to see my my fellow Air Force veterans representing in the chat. So hopefully we've got some of you in here today. I am Coach TJ. I'll be joined today by Coach Juan Flores over there. How you doing, Juan?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Welcome, everybody. I'm honored to have everybody here joining us this Wednesday. It's going to be a great Facebook Live that we're going to have today. And yeah, I had a great Thanksgiving. A lot of food, family. Hard part was cleaning up, but it was great. It was great. Glad to be back.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So we got some vets that are in the comments. We got U.S. Army. Love to see that. Love to see my Army vets.
Yep. Army one. Hey, Air Force. We got one in there. Richard McDowell, Navy. See you in there as well.
We got John, U.S. Navy, 76 to 02, retired in Japan. Thank you for your service, John.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Long career. I hope you are enjoying that retirement.
Yeah, definitely. We got another Army vet. Awesome. Love to see that.
Very good. Yeah, I'll tell you, Juan, with the Thanksgiving food, it's like you look forward to it all year. It's so nice. And then after about 13 meals in a 2-day span, you're like, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, my wife, she bought a 25-pound turkey, and I told her we're going to have probably about 20 pounds of leftover turkey, right? So it came true. Like, everybody gets stuffed, and, you get tired, of eating so much turkey. But, for Thanksgiving, you gotta go big or go home, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you gotta. It's worth it. You may feel sick for a week. You may gain 5-10 pounds that week, but it is a joyous 5 or 10 pounds.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
So we got Raymond, retired Army, 01 to 2011. Welcome, Raymond. Thank you for your service.
We've also got Wayne, Army from 68 to 71. Welcome, Wayne, and thank you for your service as well. We're glad to have you here with us. Hey, Dwayne, you just filed with us. Awesome. In the U.S. Navy, San Diego. I was born and raised in California, not in San Diego, but a little bit up north, Central Coast, right around the Santa Barbara, Pismo Beach area. So I always love seeing other California veterans in here. I don't live there anymore, but I'm in Texas now.
So you grew up in paradise.
Yeah, that's what people say, and it is true, especially when you're young. You take it for granted. You really do.
Definitely. All right, so we got about less than a minute. We'll start it off. We'll kick it off, and then after we talk about the topic for today, we'll open up for question and answers.
That is right. Yep. We'll let a few more seconds for everybody to trickle on in. Looks like we're having a decent turnout. Again, super happy to see you guys all here with us today. And hey, you got another Air Force veteran, 78 to 86. All right. So we are about 5 after the hour. I'll go ahead and kick it off. So again, I am Coach TJ. Super happy and excited to be here with you guys today. I am a fellow veteran. As I have mentioned earlier, I was in the Air Force. I served from 2008 to 2012. I am currently 100% rated, and it took me a while to get there. I did it on my own, and it was not easy, and I made a lot of mistakes, And but in doing so, I gained a passion for understanding the process and for helping fellow veterans and making sure that they don't have to go through the same struggles that I went through if they don't have to. And so, super happy to be here. It's kind of a funny story as to how I became acquainted with VA Claims Insider. I actually, when I first moved out to Texas, I decided to get a financial advisor because I wanted to do something a little bit smarter with the money that I had saved up. Turns out my financial advisor ended up being the wife of one of our fellow coaches here, Coach Eddie, and she put me in touch with him, and I started applying. I applied several times and couldn't be happier. This is the best job I've ever had, and it just is super fulfilling. So that's a little story about me in a nutshell. But how about you, Coach Juan?
Yeah, I served 9 years in the Army, 94 to 03, was in Iraq during the invasion, had a break in service, and then joined the Air Force Reserves, right, security forces, and just retired in January. Um, I was an elite member, got lucky. I battled with the VSOs and trying to do it on my own, and wasn't getting anywhere. I mean, I was frustrated and just confused. Just like most of the vets, right, that get out of the military, nobody tells them, hey, this is how the VA works, and this is how the process works, and this is how you're going to get to where you want to get. So, didn't have that. Went to VSO, did the spray and pray method, right? 10, 12 claims at the same time. The only one that stuck was tinnitus. So after I got my decision, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, man, I could do this, but I need more information. So I was looking around and stumbled across Brian's videos and said, man, I'm going to do that. He seems like somebody that I could understand everything that he's saying and that he's going to understand me, right? So I signed up, went for it, got to 70%, 10 to 70 in 3 months with my coach, and it works. It was awesome. I loved it so much that I was helping my friends, with the process and giving them pointers, telling them, hey, don't do that. Don't submit this claim like that. You're going to waste your time. Um, do your increases, but make sure you have this medical evidence when you do it. So my friends started calling me saying, hey, I got to 100%. Thank you. You're a genius. And that was making my day. I loved it. So I ended up retiring from my job that I had to come do this. And it's an amazing job. Love helping vets, uh, and when they get to that finish line, it's awesome. What's also good is when they don't get to that finish line, right? If they stumble, we motivate them and we tell them, hey, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the road. Let's keep going. So, that's my spiel on what brought me here as a coach, and I love it. Every day, it's Thanksgiving for me, right? Because I'm saying, hey, I'm working, the best job that you could ever have. So, I'm glad to be here.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that is, you were doing the work before you were doing the work, right? Helping get veterans going in the right direction. That's awesome to hear. And I
Yes,
was
sir.
security forces as well, man. So
Oh,
I know a
didn't
little
know
bit
that.
about that life. Yeah, I didn't know that you did
Ooh,
that in the reserves either. So yeah, I got stationed in Alaska, and let me tell you, that was an interesting, especially growing up, born and raised at the beach in California, and got sent straight to Alaska and got to experience that negative 20-degree, 15 inches of snow in one night type of a life. So that was interesting, but it was a good time, man, for sure. So
definitely.
let's get into now. Before we dive in, I'm going to go ahead and read the disclaimer. All right, there we go. So we are not accredited agents, VSOs, attorneys, or any other entity recognized by the Department of Veterans Affairs, and we are not affiliated with the VA in any way. VA Claims Insider is an education-based coaching consulting company for disabled veterans exploring eligibility for increased VA disability benefits and who wish to learn more about that process. VA Claims Insider also connects veterans with vetted independent medical professionals in our preferred provider network for medical examinations and independent medical opinions, or IMO, for a wide range of disability conditions. All right, so what I'm going to talk about here for a little bit is our main strategy here. It's what we live by, right? And that is what we call SEM, or strategy, education, medical evidence, right? It's kind of the cream of the crop here. It's how we go about each veteran's claim. So if you do get signed up, right, and you get yourself assigned a coach, and that coach is your personal coach, right? They're going to be with you every step of the way through your claims journey. You will get one-on-one coaching and appointments and phone conversations and all that good stuff. And the strategy portion of that SEM, right? That's going to be that first step. So you and your coach are going to have, powwow, have that discussion, look over, your records, your current conditions, what you've got already rated, if there's anything, and develop a good, solid strategy as far as, what are you going to claim? What in what order, how to do it, what you need to get in order to give yourself the best chance, right? And so there's going to be an outline that your coach will lay out for you. That's also going to go through, right? So when you submit your claim, your coach will point you in the right direction. They cannot submit your claim for you. Of course, they won't be doing that, but they will point you in the right direction and you'll get your claim submitted. And then, of course, after the submission, right, you're talking about CMP prep. So when you get signed up, you submit your claim, the VA will probably send you to an exam. You'll want to make sure that you're fully prepared for that exam, and your coach will be there with you along the way. And that comes with the education, right? Making sure that you are prepared, that you understand what the VA is looking for, that you understand your own conditions, that you understand what your symptoms are, how the VA looks at and rates those conditions. That's a big part of it, and your coach will have the resources and the guidance to make sure that you understand all that. And then, of course, the medical evidence. That's a big thing, right? If you haven't heard it already, if you haven't watched any of Brian's videos or seen any of our resources, you're going to hear it the more you get familiar with this program, which is medical evidence wins claims. Right? Every case is different, but when you've got medical evidence backing you up, it just makes it much more difficult for a negative outcome to occur. And so that's a huge piece of the puzzle. We also, if you do get signed up, we have live classes on Zoom, all right, 3 times a day. There is coffee with the coaches, which is happening every morning, and that's just really awesome. And I know that Coach Juan and I and many other in the company can attest to this, but it's a great time. It's literally just, a bunch of veterans hanging out, right? And that camaraderie that most of us miss once we get out of the service. And that's happening, like I said, every morning. So we've got that. We have mental health exam prep classes. We have medical exam prep classes. And these are happening, like I said, every week. And if you sign up and you're a member, you're going to have access to as many of those as you want. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the program, if you're not sure yet, if you just don't know yet, you could get signed up for a discovery call, right? They're free. What you do is you call and you have a conversation with one of our team members, and they're going to tell you about, what it is that we provide and the process and how everything works and what you're going to need to get signed up and all that type of stuff. So please reach out, vaclaimsinsider.com. We'd love to have you. We'd love to help you through your claims journey. And yeah, I'll turn it over to Coach Juan.
Thank you, Coach TJ. Yeah, I mean, the SME method, that's what's going to, give you a better outcome, when you submit your claim, right? Make it harder for the VA to deny you. All right, so we'll start with today's topic. All right, getting your claim denied. Uh, you ever been through the VA process like all of us have? It's part of the game, right? The VA is going to come with decisions that you don't like, and it's frustrating, right? You received a denial claim, uh, and you know you deserve that compensation, right? You know that you served, you know that you got injured, you know that you received these disabilities that you're applying for while you're in the military, but still the VA denies you, right? So it's bad, right? It could be even worse than missing out on benefits. It feels like the VA is calling you a liar, right? Many of us at VA's Claims Insider have been in your shoes, right? And we're here to let you know that you're not alone. I've been through that. I was denied, and I didn't know where to go after that. I'm pretty sure Coach TJ has had too, like you were talking about trial and error, right? Um, but why are there so many denied VA claims in the first place? From missed deadlines to providing insufficient evidence to mistake made by the VA. The reasons for denials can vary. Today, we're going to cover the top reasons for denied VA claims and give you some insight on what you should do next if you experience a denied VA claim. You can use this guide to better understand why your VA claim was denied so you can win your claim the next time you file. Um, you know, it's frustrating. It's frustrating for some vets that I work with, and I explain to them the process, how it's going to work. Expect it, right? VA they make errors. They make human errors. Sometimes you can submit the best claim possible with the strongest evidence, and it comes back denied. You know, but once you start looking at the letter and why it was denied, you start seeing more information on why it was denied, right? And it could be a lot of things. Sometimes the VA misses the medical evidence. They don't see it. They make a mistake. Either way, the best thing to do, the best advice that the coaches gave me when I came to VACI is don't quit. Right? You get denied, don't quit. Keep going. There's other roads. There's other avenues. And I felt that way. I felt like VA wanted me to quit. They said, "Hey, this is the final decision. We're the VA. You're done. Like there's no other recourse." And they do. I mean, they do tell you, "Hey, this is how you can appeal it," but they don't tell you how. They don't tell you how to do it. And which road to take. So we're going to cover that, right? We're going to cover that, why they're denied, and how to submit your best claim going forward. So you do get the best positive outcome. All right, Coach TJ, you want to hit the not reviewing your medical records before you file a claim?
Yes, sir. Sorry, having a little bit of technical difficulties over here, but I got it squared away. All right, so yeah, not so. Here's a big reason, right? Not reviewing your medical records before you file a claim, and the reason that that's important is because you got to know what's in your records. You have to know what treatment you've gotten, what's been documented, what's been diagnosed. Because if you are filing claims and what's in your records contradicts what you're claiming, right? That's a big reason for a denial right there. So you always want to review those records before you file a claim, because we've it's happened. It's happened to me. I mean, literally, it has happened to me. I thought that, well, I told the doctor this and that, and so it's got to be in there, right? And then you file a claim. Well, some doctors document things differently. Some doctors choose to not document one thing but document another. So um, that's a big reason. A lot of times, veterans, when they're just starting the process, they simply don't know what's in their own medical record, and it starts with that. That's the whole education piece of it. Is you got to know what you've got, what's documented, and if it's not documented, you got to go make sure that you get it documented with any type of appointments that you may need, because that's a huge one.
Thank you, Coach TJ, for that. Yeah, it's important information. You got to know what you have in your medical records, right, before you submit your claim, because if you don't know what you have in your records, how are you going to submit a claim, right? For what? VA is just going to deny you. Assuming a medical condition is service connected. That is one of the big reasons why a lot of VA claims get denied. All right. Just because you have that diagnosis from your doctor, right? It could be the VA hospital, or it could be your private doctor. Doesn't mean that your disabilities are service connected. All right, you still got to prove that the military caused it. All right, you got to prove that in-service event, that it was made worse, it was aggravated by the military. If you have in-service treatment records, which are records while you're in the military, right? If you have those records, you got to prove that. I mean, it's good evidence, but a lot of times that gets denied as well, for a lot of other reasons. All right, but you can't assume just because you went to the doctor and they said, okay, you already, I'm diagnosing you with migraines, that now you should qualify for a disability for migraines. All right, if you got diagnosed with PTSD at a VA clinic, it does not mean that the VA is service connecting you for PTSD. You still have to prove that connection. All right. You prove that connection. How? Evidence that stressor event occurred, right? That you were, you were deployed, right? That it did happen while you were deployed. And how do you do that? Nexus letters, right? Get that connection. Buddy statements, right? Somebody that was there with you and saw, yes, he did experience this traumatic event. Yes, he did have a lot of anxiety after that. So just remember that, okay? Just because you've been diagnosed by your doctor or a VA clinic for any condition, it's not connecting it, all right? One thing I want to mention too, the Kaluza triangle, okay? Those are the three elements the VA needs to approve a claim, right? So anytime you're submitting a claim, you got to keep that in the back of your head. Do I meet those three elements? Because if you don't, more than likely it's going to get denied. All right. The three elements are diagnosis, evidence of an in-service event, and a connection, right? A nexus of those two. So just keep that in mind. I think we're going to be talking about that, here when we talk about denied claims, because that's the first thing I look at when I see a decision letter is what did they say that I didn't meet from those three elements, right? And that's how I approach that. So keep that in mind, and we'll go on to the next one.
Yeah, Coach Juan, that was a great point and a really good, important topic. And kind of building off of what you said, it's important to remember the VHA, right? The Veterans Health Administration, they're there to treat whatever you've got going on, right? Doesn't matter what the condition is, doesn't matter if it's connected to service or not. If you're in there and you're, complaining about whatever the condition is, or you're getting documentation, that's what they're there to do, but they are separate from the VA disability process, right? So let's say if you get into a car accident, you hurt your leg 30 years after you got out of the service, and you go to the VA and they treat you and diagnose you with whatever, your broken leg or knee or whatever it is, that's not going to mean that it's service connected, right? Because that's just something that's going on in your personal life, and they're there to treat that. So that is really good to differentiate and understand that, like you said, Coach Juan, just because you're getting treatment at the VA for something does not automatically mean that it's service connected. But moving on to the next point. So a VA deadline was missed. All right. And so VA deadlines, they're there for a reason. If you have a denied claim, it might be because you missed a deadline for your claim. So when you're applying for benefits, there's not a super hard specific deadline for everybody. But there are deadlines when you're appealing a claim, right? So if let's say you claimed something, back injury, and it got denied. Depending on what type of claim you're going for, there could be a deadline, for specific claims, HLRs, you only have higher level reviews. You've only got 1 year to file those from the decision date. So it's important that you understand what claims, need what deadlines, and in order to make sure that they don't say, hey, you missed out on your chance, that year deadline or whatever that deadline may be, it's already come and gone, because at that point the opportunity for that is now it's gone. So it's important to know if there are any deadlines based on what you're claiming, what type of claim you're doing. You just got to remember, it takes time, so especially when it comes to if you need to track down medical evidence, if you know that you've got to set up some doctor appointments, whatever it may be, understand that it takes time to do that sometimes. And so calculate that in with whatever deadline applies to you. And of course, if you get signed up with us, if you get a coach, they'll be able to make you aware, right, if you do have deadlines based on whatever it is that you're claiming. And yeah, we'll go ahead and go to the next point there, Coach Juan.
Yeah, that's awesome, Coach. Awesome information. And yes, remember that. Remember your deadlines, right? You want to get that back pay, especially if you've been denied for a claim. HLR, right? Higher level review. You got and a supplemental claim with new evidence. You got to submit your claim before that deadline for back pay. Doesn't mean you can't submit it again. You can, right? You can submit it as whenever you get denied for any claim, you can submit it later on after that year passes. The only thing is you're probably going to miss out on that back pay. But just remember that you can submit your claim anytime for any claim you've been denied. All right. Another reason why your VA claim could be denied is you didn't submit sufficient evidence, right? When you submit a claim, to the VA, they're going to look at what evidence do you have, right? They're going to look at if you have any records while you're in the military, right? That support your claim. First thing they're going to look at, if you don't have that, they're going to say, where is your independent medical opinion, right? Where is that? Where is that IMO? That's what we call it. Where's your independent medical opinion from a doctor, right? That says that the disability you're claiming, it's 50% more likely than not connected to the military, right? So if you don't have that, good chance you're going to get denied, right? If you don't have military records while you're in the military and you don't have an independent medical opinion, a nexus letter, it's a high chance you could get denied. Buddy statements, service records, and personal statements. Personal statements, they help. They're not going to hurt you. All right. You're going to have a sworn, statement, right? That you're going to submit to the VA. They can refer back to that. Right? Something happens while you're at the examiner's office and, you say, hey, I didn't say that, something else happened. It's a good appeal. You can tell, whoever's reviewing your claim, refer back to my personal statement. This is what I actually said. All right. So it does not hurt. All right. The important thing is you got to have that connection, right? From the collusive triangle. And you'll have, better chance, better success rate of getting your claim approved. All right. Your CMP exam, right? The most important day of the claims process is attending your CMP exam. Show up. All right. Show up, get there early. If you have to reschedule, go ahead and let them know, but ahead of time, hey, I'm not going to be able to attend it for whatever reason. Can you reschedule me? All right. CMP exam is conducted by the VA, right? VA will more than likely you're going to get seen by, contract provider, right? A civilian that's going to do your CMP exam. Show up to it. Show up to your exam, and have your records with you, right? I tell all my vets, have them with you, right? You have your medical records, you have your evidence. Sometimes the VA misses it, and they don't have it. I had a vet that did show up with his IMO, and the examiner told him, hey, I'm looking right now that, you don't have this uploaded to your claim. He got the quickest decision after that and was denied because his IMO wasn't in there. And it was fine. We appealed it, right after that, and it got fixed. But, show up to your CMP exam. It's important, right? We see a lot of vets that have not gone to their CMP exam right before they come to the company, and they get underrated. All right, that's what tends to happen when you don't show up to your CMP exam. All right, so that's very important, and yeah, just make sure your evidence is there. All right, you have sufficient evidence, and best way to find out if you have sufficient evidence or not is sign up. Sign up with the ACI, get a free strategy session, talk to a coach, ask them, and could hash out a good strategy plan for you. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, that is a huge, especially backing up off that C&P exam, and that is a huge topic. I can't even stress how important those exams are. And like you just said, Coach Juan, you got to go to that exam. That's the biggest day, and Coach Juan's heard it. He can attest to this. It's the biggest day in your whole claim process is the day of that exam, right? Because that's where the VA is going to make they're going to collect what they need to make their determination from that exam. And so there's a lot of different reasons, right? If you can't go, sometimes veterans are saying, "Wow, it's too far of a drive. I don't want to do that," or "Oh, it's on a day that doesn't work for me." Whatever the reasoning is, right? You can call ahead of time to them if you need to reschedule it, if it's an absolute necessity. But just make sure that you do that, because like Juan said, if you are a no-show to that exam, it's almost a guarantee denial, as close to a guarantee as you can get.
Yep.
But yeah, moving to the next point. All right, so there is no specific diagnosis. This is a big one, right? Because even if you're connecting the dots and it seems like everything's there based on your symptoms, based on whatever the situation is, and it makes sense, right? It's I have this, it's got to be service connected. But if you have never actually been clinically diagnosed with whatever that condition is, that's going to be one of the top reasons for a claim denial. The VA, they're going by their policies, their rules, their procedures. They're not oftentimes just going to take in common sense, because that doesn't mean medical evidence, right? That's not hard medical evidence right there. So you want to make sure that whatever it is that you're trying to claim, that you have a current diagnosis of that condition. It's been medically diagnosed. And this kind of goes back to, this can tie into what Coach Juan said earlier about assuming that something may be service connected. Well, you might be assuming that something has been diagnosed if you're doing a PACT Act claim, right? If you had exposure to Agent Orange because you were over there in Vietnam, but you don't have any diagnosed condition under the PACT Act, they'll still deny that sort of claim, right? You got to have one of those diagnosed conditions that falls under Agent Orange exposure. Just the exposure itself, it won't be enough. So to cap that one off, yeah, you got to have the diagnosis. It's huge. You got to have that in your records.
Yes, sir. You do. Make sure that you know what you're filing for, right? Whatever you think you have, you got to know what that condition is and how the VA rates it, if the VA even has it, or if it's something close to that. So it's a lot of information. You just got to get educated, right? Get educated on, the burn pits, PACT Act, Agent Orange, right? What conditions you can file for, and get that medical evidence, right? Go to the doctor. All right. So moving on to the next one, the wrong VA form was used. Okay. It is confusing. The VA has a lot of forms, different forms for different claims. And it's hard. It's hard to navigate through that, right? It's not easy. It's best to make sure that you double check with the va.gov website, right? Look over that to see, what claim you're filing for. If you've been denied in the past, what kind of form are you going to need? If you're submitting a PTSD claim, right? Do I need a PTSD personal statement with that? It's a lot of stuff that you gotta figure out on your own, and it's hard. Here at VACI, definitely, we are experts at that. I can tell you, from when I first started, right? This is how you file this claim, because it's going to get denied, or they're going to send it back, or it's going to take another 30 days for your claim to be delayed because you didn't file it correctly. Okay. And it's tricky. Sometimes you can file a claim a long time ago and you got denied, and and I had vets, come to me all the time, and they say, why am I going to file an appeal if I got denied for depression 10 years ago, but I want to file for PTSD now? and you have to file it as a supplemental because those two conditions, mental health, fall under the same umbrella as mental health. Okay, so you know, I would say check, sign up with us. If you, talk to your coach and you ask or her, hey, what form do I need? What form do I need with this condition? Guide you the right way. All right. It's tricky. It's not easy. And, even if they do come back and they say, hey, you filed it, incorrectly, this is how you got to file it again, the way that they said. All right. Don't quit. Don't give up, even if they send it back to you. Okay. And we can move on to the next topic. Coach, if you don't have anything to add to that.
Yeah. So, and that's a big one. And I know we all know as veterans that it can get confusing with those forms, right? Because the VA's got a bunch of different forms. Some of them have a bunch of numbers. Some of them have letters in it, right? It starts to borderline look like a math equation when everything starts blurring together. You're like, whoa, what do I need here? What is the difference between this and that? So, yeah, it's important to know what each form is for, the form numbers and all that type of stuff. And yeah, big topic there. And moving on to the next topic. So the doctor did not provide sufficient medical evidence. Okay, this is a big one here. So, and when I say that, I mean, if you went to your own doctor or whatever it is that you did to get some sort of medical evidence or a diagnosis, nexus letters, whatever it may be, and if that doctor just didn't quite put enough in there, or maybe they just put the wrong type of information, the VA wasn't really looking for that. That's a big reason for denial. And so it is best, if you are looking for nexus letters, to be sure that you've got a doctor that has experience helping veterans with their disability claims as far as providing nexus letters and things like that, because those doctors understand what it takes. They understand what the VA is looking for, so they know how to put it together the way the VA is, with all the information that the VA will need if it's relevant to your claim. So that is big. You want to be sure that if you're getting help, if you're getting a private nexus letter, that their experience level and what it entails. Another thing too is potentially not just the wrong type of evidence, but just the wrong type of doctor, right? So there's plenty of examples for this. If you're claiming arthritis, you probably want to go to a rheumatologist, right? If you're claiming a mental health condition, you want it to be, a psychologist, psychiatrist, somewhere along those lines. The last thing you want to do is claim a lower back injury, but your nexus letter is from a podiatrist, right? That's a good example. The VA is going to look at that and say, well, I mean, that may not hold as much weight, right? Because it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do that. And so with that nexus letter, when your doctor or the doctor's writing it, you want that letter to explain medically why that doctor believes that your disability is connected to something about your service, right? If that nexus letter is not complete, if information's missing, if it's just the wrong information, then there's a good likelihood that it could lead to your claim getting denied. So that's a big one. That's a big one, Coach Juan.
Yes, sir, it is. You want to file for PTSD or mental health? You got to go to a doctor that's certified, right? Board certified psychologist, psychiatrist that's going to give you that, that document, that nexus letter. But yeah, the VA will deny those in a heartbeat. All right. So you mentioned nexus letters. Nexus letter isn't included. That's why it was denied. That's a big one. It isn't mandatory at all. You can submit your claim without a nexus letter, but high chance it's going to get denied, right? With a nexus letter, you got a high chance that it could get approved. And even if that gets denied, if you have a strong nexus letter, not just any nexus letter, you got a good chance of appealing it. All right. So it's very important. And like I mentioned earlier, the nexus letter is going to give you that connection, right? When military service records are missing while you're in the military, or if you have a long separation time, right, in service, you got out in 1980, 1990, right? It's 2023, and you want to file for a claim. seen it many times in the decision letters, did not seek treatment, right? Continuation of care, didn't have that. There's no evidence that shows that your disability is still affecting you, right? So the VA can say, yes, this did occur while you're in the military, but it got better because you don't have any evidence that supports your claim that it's affecting you in the present. All right. Nexus letter will make that claim stronger, right? It'll solidify it. So it doesn't guarantee that it's going to win your claim at all. Anybody that tells you, hey, this is going to guarantee you 100%, you're gonna win your VA claim, they're lying to you, right? I would stay away from them. But I can tell you that you have a high chance that it's going to get approved, and you're not wasting your time, right? If you submit your claim with a strong nexus letter, and some nexus letters, I've seen some horrific nexus letters that the vets come with that I think they typed it out on their own and they paid a lot of money for it, right? So you got to be careful. A lot of private doctors, they don't want to, or they can't do it, or they've never done it before, right? So you submit a claim like that, you're taking a risk. So you just got to make sure that you're getting a nexus letter that's solid, right? That's going to be good. You get what you pay for, right? So just keep that in mind. Part of the Kaluza triangle, right? It's the third one. Make sure you get that connection.
Yeah, that's huge. We've mentioned it multiple times throughout this session already. Nexus letters. So as you can see, the more we mention it, the more important it more than likely is. And nexus letters they can definitely make or break any type of claim. A well-written nexus letter. And so we'll move on to this next topic here. Choosing the wrong claim process. So, and this is something that actually is quite common and leads to denial. So there's two main ways of claims to consider, right? And they determine basically how fast your claim is processed. So there's the fully developed claim, which is when you're submitting a claim and you've got all the medical evidence that you need, you've got everything that's necessary, everything that the VA is going to need, you submit that with your claim, and therefore the VA does not need to assist you. They don't need to go looking for a bunch of other stuff, right? They don't need to go looking for a missing piece. If you already have, if you're claiming PTSD and you've got a diagnosis and it's documented and you have a nexus letter or a report from a qualified professional explaining what happened, how and why it's connected to your service, you've got your statement, you've got everything that you need to submit that claim, that makes it easier on the VA, right? Because at this point they're like, okay, we need to check these boxes, and the veterans already submitted those things to us, so those boxes are now checked, and that's going to lead to a faster claim decision process, as opposed to the other option, which would be the standard claim. That is when you've only got partial evidence. You don't have everything yet. Maybe you're still working to gather some things, but you submit your claim as a standard claim, and that's basically letting the VA know, hey, I've got more stuff. I'm gathering it. It's probably going to take me a little bit of time, but I'll get it to you. And at that point, the VA, they're going to give some time. It's going to take probably a little bit longer, right? Because you don't have everything right off the bat. The best way to go is definitely with a fully developed claim, if possible. Okay, if it's possible to do that, because like I just mentioned, it's a faster process usually. It makes it easier for the VA because you're already submitting all the medical evidence and forms and statements that are necessary for your claim. And that just makes the VA's job easier and simpler. And the goal to not only getting a claim approved, but also to getting it approved as quickly as possible is by making the VA's job easier, right? Make it as easy as possible. Give it to them broken down as clear as day, right? This is what I've got. This is how it's connected to my service. Here's my statement. Here's whatever's necessary for my claim. All the information's there. And that's going to make it so much easier on the VA and so much easier on you to be able to make a decision. And that's a big one. So make sure, and of course, if you get that discovery call and you get signed up, your coach, and you will go through the strategy, and you'll know what type of claim you're doing, and you'll have that clarity and that peace of mind as well. But yeah, with that pretty much wraps up the topics. Coach Juan, did you have anything to add to that?
You pretty much, hit the nail on the head with that, right? You want to get your claim speeded along, so send them everything that they need right away. But correct me if I'm wrong. If you go to the VSO, right, they submit a standard claim automatically, right? Not a fully developed claim.
Honestly, I can't say that I'm too sure on that, or at least not confident enough.
Sure.
I'm sure there's disparity. Every VSO is definitely different in their own aspect. So some probably submit standard, some may submit fully. It's
Right.
definitely hit and miss. It's definitely hit and miss.
But we here at VACI, we submit fully developed claims, right?
That's the
Until
goal.
you have everything ready, get all your documentation ready, right? All your ducks in a row. Submit your claim. And I'm pretty sure we do this all the time, right? A lot of vets do this. They submit their claim and they click that button, right? That says, "Hey, I have private medical evidence here," but they don't submit anything. Prolong your claim, right? They don't, you could spend another 30, 60 days. They can spend another 30, 60 days going searching for your private medical evidence. Okay. So have that everything in hand, print it out, scan it, upload it to your claim, submit everything. And, they tend to go by a lot faster that way, right? Than a standard claim.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Yep. Good point there, Juan. So what we'll do now is we'll get into a little bit of Q&A. So we'll answer some of these questions in the comments. I'm going to start here with Marin Moreno. I hope I pronounced that correctly. How long does the VA take to make a decision on a claim? So this is a fluid situation, right? This is I won't be able to give you something that will be super dependable because it varies. But right now, I think the average is they're dealing with a little bit of backlogs and things like that. I think the average is sitting around 140 days, whereas previously it was sitting at about 90. So just I always say expect maybe 4 or 5 months from submission to decision. Set your expectations there. But like I said, every case is different, give or take. It could be shorter, it could be longer. But yeah.
No, you're correct. 100%, right? VA moves at their own pace. And it all depends how you submit it, right? You submit, 3,000 pages of medical evidence, probably going to take longer. So it all depends. And also where you're at, what region, right? Where did your claim go to? Are they busy? So there's a lot of factors involved. Some shorter, some longer, right? Average, it's going to be on the va.gov website. All right. So we got a question here from Gina. It says, husband is Navy vet, 40%. He just got called for appointments, filed PACT Act. What are your fees? Okay, so here at VACI, you don't get charged at all right, unless you win. So say, your husband, Gina, is at 40%, he comes to us and we help him, right? Going through the process, get him ready for his appointments. And if he wins, whatever increase he gets from 40%, that's when VACI will charge 6 times that amount. And there's different payment options, right? After that. But yes, to answer your question, you don't pay until you win, right? Until we help you get that increase. And good luck with his exam. And have him call us for a free strategy session, right? He doesn't lose anything. All he's going to get is probably knowledge out of that.
That's right. Okay, so let's go to Wayne Kern. He says, I have service connection for hearing loss, tinnitus, sleep apnea, mental health issues at 92% TDIU. And is insomnia rated separately from sleep apnea? So this is kind of a two-part question. I'll answer this first part first. So insomnia is a little tricky. It used to be rated individually as its own condition by the VA. In the past, they have recently changed that up to where they now basically consider it a symptom of other mental health conditions. And so with insomnia, if you were to claim that, or if you're trying to claim it, the VA is going to lump that in. If you've already got mental health service connection, the VA is going to lump that in with that. So it won't be usually in conjunction with your sleep apnea if you've already got, mental health service connected. Um, and then the other part of that question, can chronic rhinitis be secondary to OSA? So, and again, this is without seeing the full medical picture here. But usually from what I've seen, and Juan, you can, if you've got something to say, but usually when it's service connected like that, it's the other way around. Whereas instead of chronic rhinitis secondary to sleep apnea, it's usually sleep apnea can be in some certain circumstances secondary um, to the sleep apnea, or I mean to the rhinitis. But Juan, does that sound about right, or what do you think about that?
Yes, it does. Sleep apnea is a higher value claim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Normally see 50% for that. So that's normally what we see is somebody's already rated for an upper respiratory condition, right? And then you put in for sleep apnea, secondary to that, had a high percentage claims when that way compared to other claims, sleep apnea secondary to something else. So yeah, you're correct, Coach.
Right on.
All right, move on to the next question. From John. The VA diagnosed me with sleep apnea when I filed a claim. They denied me. All right, so like what we were talking about earlier, right? Diagnosis by a doctor or a VA facility does not mean that you're service connected. All right, you're still going to need that nexus, that connection, right? From the Kaluza triangle, right? You got one of them. You got the medical diagnosis, right? We still need to have that evidence of an in-service event and a connection, right, of that evidence of an in-service event with your diagnosis, right? So you don't have that yet, uh, and most conditions, right, that we develop in the military, we didn't go on sick call, right? We didn't say, hey, I want to go on sick call for sleep apnea in 1995 because it didn't exist back then, right? So you're like all the vets here, John. Most of them, the conditions that you had while you're in the military, you never went to sick call, or you developed them after you got out of the military, right? So we need to get that connection. You get that nexus letter.
That's right. Yeah, that goes right back to that point. So that was a really good question for that one. All right, let's go to Rufus Coleman. So he says, what do Nexus letters need? Sample. So as far as the sample, we do have, excuse me, we do have blogs on our website that break down, what a good Nexus letter will entail and all that type of stuff on vaclaimsinsider.com. So be sure to check that out because they're in there. But what I'll tell you is, a nexus letter, what you want is you want your diagnosis, to be documented on that nexus. You want some sort of explanation from that doctor explaining medically how and why they believe that diagnosis is connected to your service, and you want them to break it down, explain, as if the VA's never heard of it before, right? You want them to break down, hey, this is connected to that because of XYZ, because of whatever, that their medical reasoning is. um, and that nexus letter can contain prior VA cases. They can contain other medical knowledge that provider has gained over their career. You definitely want to make sure that the provider has signed it. You want to make sure that their license number is on there, their credentials, all that type of stuff. Because that's going to be how the VA determines, okay, is this person qualified to even write a nexus letter. So in a nutshell, that's what a nexus letter is going to entail. And of course, every condition's different, every veteran's different, so there may be a little bit, give or take, different information, but that's pretty much the basis of it.
Yeah, awesome question. Great question. So we got a question from Rachel. Can sleep apnea or insomnia be secondary to PTSD? Um, any claim, right? You can file any claim secondary to anything. But that doesn't mean that it's going to have a high chance of getting approved, right? Um, you know, book a call with one of the coaches, right? Talk to them about that. Talk to them about, what are the higher percentages that you see, right? Because we're insiders of claims that get approved as a secondary claim. I've had vets, ask me this question all the time, and I tell them, let's go by the percentages, right? What is mostly sleep apnea, secondary to what condition that you already have, and if you don't have that condition, let's see if you have it, right? Let's go after it. Make your doctor's appointments. Get your diagnosis. I can't tell you exactly, how to go, the strategy for your claim because I don't know it, right? I don't know the evidence that you have, the information that you have, and we basically here at VACI as coaches, we do an evaluation of all the medical evidence that you have, of your service treatment records that you have. We looked at your DD 214. We looked at your blue button report, right, from the VA, and then we look at what's currently affecting you now, right, and that's how we develop that strategy. So, great question, Rachel, and for everybody, everybody's claim is different, right? Not everybody's claim is the same. Some have been out longer than others. We have some vets that got out 2 months ago, 9 months ago, or 30 years ago, right? So it's all different. But yeah, sign up with VACI, book a call with the coach, and probably be able to answer that better for you, Rachel.
Awesome. And these are really great questions. We appreciate you guys doing this participation. We've got only about 4 minutes to the hour, so we're going to start wrapping it up. But for those of you who did not get your questions answered, they will be addressed. So be on the lookout for that after the session's ended. Coach Juan, it has been an absolute pleasure doing this class with you, man. You knocked it out. Awesome. I really appreciate it and been happy to be here with you, man. You want to go ahead and close us out?
Yes, sir. Same here, man. It's been an honor. It's been fun. I only see you on Coffee with the Coaches talking about cheeseburgers for the cheeseburger day, right?
So
yeah,
good.
It's been great. And yeah, great questions. And thank you everybody for showing up, participating, asking questions, because one question that you ask could be another 50, 100 vets, right, that are asking that same question. So appreciate that. But just to recap, our topic, why claims are denied. All right. Strategy, education, medical evidence gives you a better chance that your claim isn't going to get denied. Coach, you can attest to this. Submitting a claim is easy, right? After you submit it, what do? Right? If you don't have a strategy, you're not educated on the C&P exams coming up. You're not educated on what the VA rating is and how to approach these exams. Tips of do's and don'ts, because we've been through that already. And then medical evidence, right? If you don't have strong medical evidence, you have weak medical evidence, and you expect for your claim to be approved, you got a high chance that it's going to get denied. All right. So make sure that evidence is good to go, and talk to us, talk to the experts, right? We got many claims approved, right? So we can tell you, hey, this is the best possibility that you can get it. This might not work. And then, that makes it a lot easier, right? Once you have those three things, your strategy, education, medical evidence, the rest is easy. All right. You're going to get one-on-one coaching, right? Like we talked about, everybody's claim is different. You can get a strategy session developed just for you, right? What you have, what you show us, what claims you want to go after. Just because one vet gets approved, right? Like sleep apnea, secondary to tinnitus, or secondary to whatever, doesn't mean that it should happen to you, because the VA doesn't work that way, right? VA, sometimes they're consistent, most of the time they're not, right? So you just got to be aware of that. And then we'll help you, right? We'll guide you. We'll assist you in submitting the specific type of claim for you, right? The claim that is not going to come back and say, hey, you're missing these documents. So that's what we'll provide for you, right? Assist you in submitting that claim. And like I said, submitting the claim is not hard, right? Anybody can do it. Submitting the right claim and having the right strategy, that's a little different. Most important day of your claims process is your C&P exam. CMP exams are very, very important because that's a day where you're going to be able to, you know, adjudicate for yourself, right? Fight for your claim. The classes 3 times a day, right? Make sure you sign up. Vets that do sign up for these classes, they tend to do a lot better, right, in their CMP exams. We have coffee with the coaches, mental health Mondays, CMP prep, elite member question and answers like you're attending now. And make sure, all right, Brian's book, you deserve it. All right, get a free copy. Order yours on Amazon, and you get your free copy at youdeserveitfree.com.
All right, everybody. Again, it's been mentioned, but book a discovery call. They're free. You can get more information, see if you're a good fit, see if we're a good fit for you. And thank you so much for joining. And I hope you all have a great rest of your Wednesday and rest of your week.
Thank you.